This awful comedian.
Hey, Jerry!
Hey, Kenny! Elaine, George.
Hi.
How's it going?
Great. I've been working out. Went from a size 40 to a 42.
No kidding.
Yeah, I'm huge. Well, I'll leave you guys alone.
Okay.
Oh, Jerry, you know what just hit me? I was thinking, what size suit are you?
I'm a 40, why?
I just got a brand new Armani suit, doesn't fit me anymore. You want it?
Well, I don't know if I...
Oh, come on. Why should it just sit in the closet?
An Armani suit?
Take the suit. Well... Okay, I guess.
You gonna be home later?
Yeah.
I'll drop it off.
Hey, new suit. Yeah, lucky me.
Hey! Here you go.
Yeah.
You didn't think I was really gonna give you a suit, did you?
What, you're giving him the suit?
That's right, and it's Armani.
Armani? Hey, Armani, Jerry.
Yes,
Yeah.
I heard.
Come on, try it on.
Nah, it's okay.
No, come on, I want to see how it fits.
All right.
There you go.
Yeah, okay.
Boy, look at that. That looks great, huh? I can't believe you're giving him this.
And I don't even want anything for it.
He's very generous, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
I'll tell you what, you can take me out to dinner sometime.
Dinner?
Yeah, you buy me a meal, can't get a better deal than that.
Oh, you'll never get a better deal than that.
All right, I'll leave you alone.
Yeah.
All right. Ooh, look at that, Armani, huh?
Yeah, that's a deal.
That's a terrible deal. I don't want to go out to dinner with him. I'd rather make my own suit.
I start off with curls. That's good for the bicep. I do 10 reps, 2 sets.
That's fantastic.
You work out with weights?
No, I don't.
You should.
What?
You won the suit yet?
No, not yet.
Have you decided?
Oh, get the swordfish. Best swordfish in the city. The best, Jerry.
On the salmon.
And you?
You know what I think? I'm just gonna have soup. Yeah, I'll save the meal for another time.
Another time? What other time?
I had a hot dog earlier, I'm not that hungry.
No, Ben, you know. This is the dinner. The soup counts.
Soup's not a meal. You were supposed to buy me a meal.
I'm not stopping you from eating. Go ahead and eat. Get anything you want.
But I don't want anything but soup.
Then that's the meal.
But I had the hot dog.
I didn't tell you to have a hot dog. Who told you to have a hot dog?
Hey, I give you a brand new Armani suit, and you won't even buy me a meal.
All right, fine.
Get the soup.
Hi, everybody. Service with a purpose. Yeah. When you hear the word service, what comes to mind? Busy work? Helping someone in need? Maybe doing something out of obligation? Raise your hand if you've ever done something out of duty and not desire. Thank you very much. You can put your hands down. In recovery, service is much more than action or doing things out of a sense of obligation. It's intentional, it's meaningful, and life-changing. It's both for the giver and for the receiver. That's why today we're going to explore service with a purpose, as it is at the heart of lasting recovery. Recovery teaches us that real change is never meant to be kept to ourselves. The spiritual awakening that comes from working the steps naturally leads us towards helping others, because service is at the heartbeat of lasting sobriety. I serve out of a sense of thankfulness to God, who has blessed me by lifting the obsession of alcohol and placing examples of service in my life. I've seen how service adds to their lives and developed my own desire to serve others and become willing to be the example for the next person in the recovery process. Yet, this is not just service for the sake of busy work. This is service with a purpose. Each act of giving, whether sharing our story, sponsoring a newcomer, or simply showing up for a meeting, carries the potential to save a life and strengthen our own recovery. When I first entered the rooms of AA, I was a mess. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. My resting heart rate entering detox was 180 beats per minute. Yeah. 2 hours after leaving detox, my wife asked for a divorce. My world was falling apart. I had a choice to drink that bottle of whiskey that was sitting there looking at me, or to go to a meeting. I chose that meeting, and that choice has changed my entire life. I began attending meetings, but I couldn't get through the Lord's Prayer without breaking down, usually around "Forgive us our trespasses." I was carrying years of pain and despair. One day early in my sobriety, I chose a sponsor and I began the steps. I got to step 3, and I was uncertain about the spiritual part of the program, and I had been asking a lot of people about it. I wasn't convinced. During a break at work one day, it happened. I broke down. Tears, sobbing. Years of frustration just came pouring out. And I surrendered. And I agreed to let God take the controls. At that moment, a wave of calm came over me. From then on, I could pray without breaking down. I began noticing signs of God's presence in everyday life. Small coincidences that reminded me I wasn't alone.
Amen.
One of these coincidences was in an AA meeting. I brought up the story of Pinocchio and his friends being turned into donkeys for being foolish. Now, I hadn't thought about that story in 40 years, let alone that specific part, but it just popped into my head. So we're discussing how we continue to drink despite knowing all of the consequences and seeing how it had negative effects on ourselves and others who had been down that road before us. We were the fools. 5 minutes after that meeting, I walk into a thrift store, and the first thing I see, a Pinocchio VHS tape. Is that a coincidence? I think not. I feel God was telling me that I was correct in my interpretation of Pinocchio and that alcohol comparison. Another example. My mother, she had been living in my basement apartment that we had built for her. She asked me to pick up some groceries for her, which was really odd because my mom had never done that before in her life. The next day, a friend of mine asked me to take him to Giant that weekend for a job interview, which I agreed to do. 2 days later, I met my friend and I took him for the interview and I did my mom's shopping. Got home, I find my mom, she's laying on the floor. She fell in the middle of the night and she'd been laying on that floor for 9 hours. Coincidence? I don't think so. Not at that point. But wait, there's more. Many more. So many more. But the final coincidences that I want to mention here today involve how I got here. So, in December, a friend of mine, she asked me if I would take her to the Sunbury Recovery Church for their New Year's Eve party, and I agreed. I didn't have plans. So, we go and we have a great time. 2 weeks later, she asked me if I could take her there to be baptized, which I did. The service was moving, and again, I found myself in tears during the prayer. It was so powerful, and it happened to be on my 2-year sobriety date. Coincidence? Maybe not. Few weeks later, I'm at another AA meeting, and I was invited to this recovery church. And I was told that I was going to get something out of it, and Kara was not lying. I went from being an agnostic, believing that there had to be something greater that created all of this, but I was not convinced that God had any real part in my life or anybody else's. I thought we were just creations left to figure it out on our own, watched from a distance but never cared for. Through recovery, I came to see that I was wrong. God has been active in my life all along, guiding me, carrying me, and bringing me to a place where I can stand here today and share this message of hope with you. Thank you. I don't feel the emotions in any other place than I do when I'm here surrounded by my people, praying and deepening my understanding of God. Through all this, though, I realized God works through ordinary acts of service, even small acts, such as making coffee, greeting newcomers, making a dessert, picking up groceries, giving a ride, sponsoring someone, inviting someone to a meeting or recovery church, or sharing your story. These acts, given with love, they ripple outward. This is service with a purpose. In AA and other 12-step programs, we follow a series of steps, traditions, principles. I want to take a moment and I want to try and show how these can connect with our experience that we share here at Recovery Church, bringing the two even closer together. The first principle that we should discuss is carrying the message, the 12th step. Having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. The 12th step. Once we experience recovery, we give back by guiding others. A Bible verse that corresponds really well with this idea is Matthew chapter 10, verse 8. Heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse those who have disease, drive out demons. Freely you have received, freely give. Think about it. Who first carried the message to you? Who showed up to you when you were lost, broken, or desperate? And now, who in your life might be waiting for you to carry the message to them? Who here has shared their story to help someone else? Raise your hand. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. You can put your hands down. The second set of principles to discuss are humility and selflessness. We can only find happiness, joy, and freedom by helping others. That comes to us from the big book. I feel that this corresponds beautifully with Matthew chapter 23, verse 21. The greatest among you shall be your servant. Service requires humility. We serve without expecting reward, as can also be evidenced with the Bible verse Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit. Rather, in humility, value others above yourself, not looking to your own interest, but each of you to the interests of others. Remember the Seinfeld that we just watched? Think about this. When was the last time you helped someone with no expectation of getting anything in return? No recognition, no thank you, no payback, just pure service. How did that feel compared to times when you acted out of selfish ambition? Probably a lot better than Kenny Banyan did. The truth is, our joy and freedom grow when we take the focus off ourselves and place it on lifting someone else up. Who in your life right now might God be asking you to serve quietly, humbly, without seeking reward? My friends, what would it look like if we lived this daily? What would it look like if everyone lived this daily? The third principle that I want to discuss are the fact that small acts have big impact. We can only keep what we have by giving it away. That's part of a 12-step commentary. Even greeting newcomers, making coffee, or sharing your story can ripple outward and change lives. I feel this corresponds so well with Bible verse 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10. Each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others. as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. My friends, think about this. Have you ever underestimated the power of a simple act? A smile at the door, a cup of coffee poured, a word of encouragement shared. Scripture reminds us that each of us has been given a gift not to keep, but to serve others with. Do you realize your story is one of those gifts? Do you realize that the very sobriety given to you so freely is something you hold on to only by giving it away? Tell your story, my friends. Please tell your story. The fourth and final principle that I want to discuss is spiritual growth through service. We realize we needed a spiritual awakening, and this awakening was facilitated by helping others. That's also part of our 12-step commentary. Service strengthens both our recovery and spiritual awareness. A great Bible verse that reflects this idea is Mark chapter 10, verse 45. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and give his life as a ransom for many. My friends, consider this. Jesus, the Son of Man, chose not to be served, but to serve. If even he found purpose and power in serving others, how much more can we? Service doesn't just help the person in front of us, it awakens something deeper within us. So I ask you, who might God be placing in your path today? Not just for their growth, but for yours. Who are you called to serve so that our own spiritual awareness may continue to deepen? My friends, it's Bible story time. And I'd like to share with you a story of service with a purpose. The story of Jesus washing the disciples' feet. And I'm going to just do a little bit of rearranging here. It was just before the Passover festival. Jesus knew that the hour had come for him to leave this world and to go to the Father. Having loved his own who were in the world, he loved them to the end. The evening meal was in progress, and the devil had already prompted Judas, the son of Simon Iscariot, to betray Jesus. Jesus knew that the Father had put all things under his power, and that he had come from God and was returning to God. So he got up from the meal, took off his outer clothing and wrapped a towel around his waist. After that, he poured water into a basin, and he began to wash his disciples' feet. Drying them with the towel that was wrapped around him. He came to Simon Peter, who said to him, "Lord, are you going to wash my feet?" Jesus replied, "You do not realize now what I am doing, but later you'll understand." "No," said Peter, "you shall never wash my feet." Jesus answered, "Unless I wash you, you have no part with me." "Then, Lord," Simon Peter replied, "not just my feet, but my hands and my head as well." Jesus answered, Those who have had a bath need only to wash their feet. Their whole body is clean, and you are clean, though not every one of you." For he knew who was going to betray him, and that was why he said, "Not everyone is clean." When he finished washing their feet, he put his clothes back on and returned to his place. "Do you understand what I have done for you?" he asked them. You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you should also wash one another's feet. I have set an example that you should do as I have done for you. Very truly, I tell you, no servant is greater than his master, nor a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them. Jesus humbled himself to wash their feet, the job of the lowest servant. Then he said, I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. True leadership and strength come through humble service. We serve not because we're above or below someone, but because we've walked the same path. Now, my friends, I have 2 Bible verses on service with a purpose to quote and for us to ponder as my time is drawing to a close. The first is Galatians chapter 5, verse 13. You, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Rather, serve one humbly in love. My friends, what gifts can we share humbly? The second verse is Hebrews chapter 6, verse 10. God is not unjust. He will not forget your work and the love you have shown him as you've helped his people and continue to help them. My friends, have we forgotten the impact of your help for those who have helped you? Practical service can look like making coffee, greeting newcomers, sponsoring someone, giving a ride, or chairing a meeting. These may seem small, but each is an act of service with a purpose. Which act could you do this week to serve someone intentionally? Recovery is more than abstinence. It's a way of living that finds its fullest expression in service. When we give of ourselves, not only out of obligation, but with intention, we discover the true meaning of service with a purpose. Service becomes the bridge between isolation and connection, despair and hope, self-centeredness and spiritual growth. It safeguards our sobriety while transforming lives. So, whether through words, action, or presence, everything we do in service is meaningful. Let me repeat that. So, whether through words, action, or presence, everything we do in service is meaningful. And that, my friends, is service with a purpose. Thank you.